Shedeur Sanders' preseason outing did more than light up social feeds. It forced a real concrete reevaluation of Cleveland's quarterback picture. On the surface, 14 of 23, 138 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 sacks, no turnovers. But the true impact lives in the tape and the roster math that now follows. If you remove the celebrity applause and focus on football, here's what that half night of work actually tells us, what remains unresolved, and why the Browns can't quietly put this back in the interesting but irrelevant box. First, the positives you can't gloss over. Sanders showed advanced timing on rhythm throws, the kind of 10 to 20-yard accuracy most NFL evaluators value above occasional deep ball heroics. Both his touchdowns were instructive in different ways. The bootleg back of the end zone dart displayed patience, pocket awareness, and touch. The second was a firm, accurate strike into traffic, showing he can set his feet and throw with anticipation under pressure. He processed pre-snap looks in reasonable fashion, gave indications he's studying coverages, looking to safeties and checking boundary leverage, and executed out of multiple alignments, shotgun and under center, which is not trivial for a rookie who hadn't seen many first-team reps. Equally important was his temperament, the media circus that follows his name. Deion Sanders, LeBron reactions, hype from pundits could have been destabilizing. Instead, he was measured, answered questions like a pro, and returned to the bench as if it was just another job. That matters to coaching staffs. They want rookies who don't burst into fireworks and then flame out under pressure. For a fifth-rounder, that composure plus clean tape is rare and valuable. But now the caution tape. Preseason context is critical. Opponents intentionally limit disguise, stunt complexity and late-game heat packages to avoid exposing core starters or blowing out developing players. So the sample size is tiny, and the most revealing looks, multi-level disguise coverages, heavy stunt twist rushes, game speed zone drops that rotate after the snap, were probably underused. 2 sacks also telegraph an area of concern. At times, he held the ball too long and his footwork tightened under rush. That's fixable, but the fix requires reps with the starters under real pressure, not just scripted drives. The bigger, longer-term question is decision-making under disguise and volume. NFL defensive coordinators will throw looks that bait the eyes, fake safeties, late rotates, delayed linebackers, and the test is whether Sanders' eyes move fast enough to locate the next read, reset mechanics, and make a high-percentage choice within the window. In the exhibition, he showed promising instincts, but he didn't frequently face the kind of chess match pressure that reveals whether a QB is a starter or a developmental project. Now, roster calculus. This performance changes the Browns' chessboard materially. Joe Flacco remains the clear short-term starter, and Dylan Gabriel and Kenny Pickett were roster players the front office valued coming in. But Sanders is cheap, under team control for 4 years, and now demonstrably capable in game action. That makes him a very different asset, one you keep rather than cut if he continues to trend upward. Teams almost always prefer controllable upside over short-term guarantees, especially at quarterback. If Sanders keeps producing, the Browns have the luxury to carry 3 QBs, or at minimum stash him on the practice squad with an eye toward elevation. Conversely, if he stumbles in the next live reps, that cheap upside evaporates and Cleveland defaults to draft pedigree and veteran reliability. Kevin Stefanski's public posture was instructive. He praised development, stressed evaluation, and declined to overhaul the narrative publicly. That's exactly what a coach should do when a rookie makes headlines. But let's be blunt. Inside the building, Sanders will get more reps. Stefanski promised he'd get a ton of reps against the Eagles next week. Expect expanded red zone scripts, 2-minute drills, and first-team reps against disguise packages. Those reps are not courtesy, they're pressure tests. The staff will measure his third down efficiency, his accuracy on cross-field timing throws, and his turnover aversion under late rotations. What must he prove next to become a legitimate roster lock? 3 measurable things. Sustained accuracy in the intermediate window against first-team pressure, reliable third down and 2-minute execution, and refusal to turn the ball over under disguised looks. Add to that improved pocket mechanics, quicker set, cleaner footwork, fewer holdups, and he becomes a very different asset. Also watch chemistry. Tightened timing with his top targets and comfort with the starting line's protection calls will accelerate trust. There are strategic implications beyond technique. Sanders represents a roster-building lever. Keep him, and you free money and flexibility to spend elsewhere. Cut him and risk losing a cheap, controllable QB to waivers. That's why these preseason reps matter. They're not just auditions for playing time. They're resume building for the front office's long view. Finally, the cultural element. Being Deion's son invites noise and scrutiny, but it also draws attention that can be monetized and managed. Sanders' demeanor after the game suggested he can handle both the lights and the ledger. If he keeps the tape quality consistent, the Browns can ride the double benefit of on-field value and off-field marketability. If he doesn't, the spotlight will turn to disappointment, and Cleveland will move on. Bottom line, Friday night was not a fluke nor a final exam. It was an opening chapter. What it did do was force Cleveland to accelerate evaluation. The next week's practices and the next preseason game will reveal whether this was a promising flash or the start of a genuine QB candidacy. For now, Shedeur Sanders has moved from curiosity to contender. But the road from here to a Week 1 roster spot and beyond is still a series of tests. Shedeur Sanders just made the Browns' quarterback conversation a lot harder to ignore. Coming into Friday night, Sanders' NFL status came with a long list of caveats. Could he master Kevin Stefanski's play calling? Could he translate limited practice reps into game-ready play? Would he even get meaningful opportunities in the preseason? By the time the clock hit the end of his night, Sanders had answered enough questions to force the front office and coaching staff to pay attention. Thrown into Cleveland's first preseason start with very few high-level practice snaps, the fifth-round rookie delivered a performance that was solid by any conservative evaluation. 14 of 23 passing, 138 yards, 2 touchdown passes, 2 sacks, and no turnovers in nearly 3 quarters against the Carolina Panthers. More important than the raw line was how he handled a variety of real-game scenarios. Sanders operated out of shotgun and under center, worked red zone snaps, threw from his own end zone, converted 3rd and long and short, executed a quarterback sneak for a first down, and repeatedly showed the ability to evade rushers and make throws on the move. In short, he packed a semester's worth of situational work into one exhibition outing, tape that the Browns staff will be studying closely. That mattered because, as one high-ranking team executive told a reporter a few weeks ago, how he plays in preseason games won't be ignored. Friday night illustrated exactly why. Sanders didn't just look comfortable. He made plays that suggested he can absorb Stefanski's system under pressure, even with limited reps. Coach Stefanski struck a measured tone after the game, offering praise while steering the narrative toward player development. "We're really just focused on developing our players," he said. "We're in evaluation mode. I'm pleased with where the guys are, but I'm not diving into the quarterback competition." He did, however, confirm that Sanders will see plenty more preseason action, noting he'll get a ton of reps next week as well. That's all a part of our development of our young players. Sanders himself kept it even more grounded. "I just think about when I get out there doing what I gotta do," he said. "Everything else is out of my hands, so why worry about it? The most you can do is, whenever your number is called, perform and at least do the bare minimum and win the game. That's what I feel like we did today, and there's definitely things I can grow off of." 2 months ago, Sanders was being described as a 4th-string quarterback with limited opportunities. Friday night changed that dynamic. Whether the Browns are ready to shift their depth chart immediately or not, Sanders' debut means the rest of training camp and the preseason schedule just became a lot more interesting.